My cat's up. All right, everybody, it is Swing for the Fences, Holden Kushner. I got Title, I got Mangone here. We got a nice baseball slate tonight. A couple games going on right now, but we've got a lot of offense. We've got some not as much pitching tonight. I love Philly, Houston, the Rays, the Dodgers. Boys, I can't wait to get into this with you, Mangone. Let's get your large thoughts on the slate, my man.
Yeah, I mean, overall, pitching is not my favorite, and bats, I mean, they're not bad. There's some good spots here and there. I think overall it's a fun slate. It's not a clear slate. Yesterday it felt a little more clear of what we were doing. So excited to kind of dive in, talk about it, and discuss everything.
Title, what do you think about this slate here? Where are you looking?
It's not the best. There's no standout spot either way. Coors was on the morning slate, so we don't have to worry about that. We have Greinke up top, kind of in a tier of his own. A little overpriced for a normal slate, but because this isn't a normal slate with pitching, he provides the most safety, and with no up top bats, Philly's pretty valuable, or they're pretty cheap on both sites, especially FanDuel. So that's kind of where I'm leaning right now. Interesting slate though, and excited to dive in with you guys.
All right, let's do it. And I want to remind everybody on YouTube watching the stream, thumbs up, 2 thumbs up. Once we mentioned it this morning with JSU, it was like, we got all these thumbs up, and people got free swag. Some lizard guy got swag this morning, Mangone. So let's go. How many we got right now? Do we have 4? Do we even know how many we got? 150, you're getting swag.
All right. Well, we could try for 150. Let's wait, Holden. Let's wait till we get like 20 minutes into the show to pick the number, okay? Because 150 might be too high for the MLB show. I'll say that. But let's wait. We'll get people to file in. We'll see how they do. I was like number 10. We're at 16 now, so let's keep them pumping, and we'll see as the show goes on. We'll see how many people are in there and figure it out.
Thumbs up, jabronis. Let's get it going here. Zach Greinke at the top of the pitching list probably has the highest ceiling. I mean, really going up against San Francisco, but San Francisco's offense actually wasn't bad last night. You're probably not getting a win with Greinke because the Astros bullpen sucks. Then you got Maeda. Really, it's Greinke on a first tier, right, Mangone? Because I'm just looking at him on FanDuel. He's 9.8. Everybody else is in the 8s and the 7s. So is he in a tier by himself?
So kind of, yeah. I mean, I guess he's in a tier on his own, but do we want to pay that price for him? No. I mean, on FanDuel, I get it. It's not that expensive. You can get in good bats without it, but I could get in better bats for cheaper. So, I think Greinke's fine. He gets the Giants, right? The Giants aren't the greatest team in the world. He'll limit the damage as best as he can. He'll probably get that quality start, which is always nice. But the strikeouts won't really be there, right? It's not the greatest strikeout matchup. So if you're like a man that is living for safety, Zach Greinke's definitely your guy on this slate. If you want to get a little frisky and go live life on the edge, I think there's other ways that you could go if you'd like.
All right, Title. So your thoughts on Greinke? Mangone said there's other ways to go too, so maybe you could throw a name or two out besides for Greinke.
Yeah, so I like Greinke up top just because of how the slate works out. He does provide the most safety on FanDuel, especially with that quality start and the win. That's something I always try and target with my pitchers. That's a whole 10 points. I think he does have the best chance to get both of them. I agree his strikeout stuff isn't very appealing. San Fran had a good outing yesterday, but it's not a team I'm really scared to target against. So he's just landing as my favorite right now. I do like Maeda up top a little bit in tournaments as a pivot, but I think a lot of people are going to look there as the first pivot from Greinke. So I'm not in love with that play. I'm going to be very overweight on Greinke just because I think other people are going to go other places. I don't love pitching enough on this slate, and I just want to make a stand.
Did Nolan Arenado just hit his second home run? My God.
Yeah.
I love day baseball. My God.
Early slate on FanDuel too was 5 games. I posted my core in Discord. Anyone that's not in Discord, Run Pure Sports, we're always in there helping people out. I posted my core. Arenado is in there. 2 home runs so far, so looking good.
Hope you threw Trout out there too. I mean, all these guys does is hit a home run every day. All right, Mangone. So we talked about Greinke. I need anybody else on the top tier, or we just drop down to the middle.
So let me look at it. I mean, obviously site matters, right? DK, right? Let's talk about it. So Blake Now he's on a 75 pitch count. You can't really mess with that, right? I think that's just unnecessary. No need in that spot. I think Kenta Maeda at 9.1K could be a really interesting pivot off of Greinke in your tournaments. Milwaukee Brewers, I'm not really scared of that offense too much. I think Maeda has some, upside in tournaments. Yeah, no, that's just strictly GPPs. I don't think it's a cash game play to go to. The mid-tier, though, it's not great, right? Tanaka's kind of interesting, but do you want to target that Braves offense? I'm out on that. I'd probably go to Jordan Lyles. I think he's one of the more interesting options. It's more so just, again, kind of like we're doing with Greinke. We're attacking a really bad offense. Do that with Jordan Lyles. His K prop's not bad today. It's decent. It's I think it's 5.5, but it's juiced on the under. So he's a guy I don't mind. And I don't mind going to Eflin as well. He's more of a cheaper guy. I kind of counted him as the mid tier, even though I guess you can make him the value play. But he gets that Baltimore team, and we talked about it, right? Baltimore, they have power, and they displayed it yesterday. But they definitely have the ability to miss and the ability to kind of put up some duds. So I think Eflin could be in play as well. But I'd say Lyles is my favorite mid tier guy. All
right, title. Let's do it. We talked a little bit about FanDuel and the pricing there. Well, let's get to that Draftkings. So you got Greinke at 10.3, and then Snell and Maeda in the 9,000 range. In the 8,000 range, we're talking about Zach Davies, and Gonsolin. I want to ask you about Zach Davies first. He's off to a good start this year. We know he's not as good as what he's shown thus far, but any Zach Davies tonight?
No, I'm not interested in Zach Davies tonight. Not someone I rostered too much because he just doesn't have the best strikeout stuff. He's priced way too high at 8,200, and I do not like picking on the Dodgers at all. So not going to have too much Zach Davies today. My shares on pitchers are going to be pretty condensed, pretty much locking in Greinke. And then in the mid-range, Eflin, you brought him up, Mangone. He's on a pitch count today. I think we'll see him at 5 at most. At first, I plugged him in 2 because I do like this matchup, but then I looked and I saw he's on a pitch count. So I'd be cautious about that. Still at 6,400. If you got 5 innings, I guess you could, but it's not somewhere I'm going to go. I like Lyles that you mentioned, Mangone. He was my favorite at 7,300. And I like the other side of that game too. I like Walker on Seattle. So I'm going to target both those pitchers in a pitcher's park. Haven't heard if the roof is open yet, but either way, on a pitching slate I don't like a lot, Walker and Lyles are going to be my 2 guys that I'm going to have a lot of, with more of a lean on Lyles because I'm less scared of the Seattle offense than I am Texas.
Hey, Mangone, any pitchers that we forgot about, or can we just get on the bats? This is gross, man.
Well, I did want to mention, so I'm seeing Eflin's pitch count around 90, and it's like, I mean, is that really a limit for him? Like, I think 90 is still fine at that price, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. If he's got 90 pitches, Holden, and he hasn't done it for me yet, I don't think he's doing it, right? Would you kind of say that?
Yeah. I again, the pitch count. So you're saying it's a 90. You're saying it's a 70. The guy will be fine. So that's what Joe Girardi said, that Eflin's gonna be limited to around 90 pitches tonight. So
okay, I missed the number. I just saw it. 90. Yeah, I'm not worried about 90 pitches.
I don't know if that's the exact number I saw. I'm still trying to look for like a reliable source on it, but I saw 2 of them. I feel like
that sounds okay. Yeah, I just saw that.
Let's see here. Exit velocity. He's getting crushed. I mean, Zach Davies or Zach Eflin is. Somebody. This is interesting.
I'll mention one other pitcher before we move on. Gesselman on the Mets at 4K on DraftKings. If you want the bats, you just want to go all the way up. 4K is a complete punt. You can go there as well.
The Gesellman's going to get you 3 innings tonight?
Yeah, I mean, it's literally just if you think if you want like higher price bats, it's not where I'm landing right now. I'm liking Lyles in the mid tier, but yeah, you're hoping 3 innings, a couple strikeouts, just gets you enough points where your bats take over.
All right, Mangone, here's the deal. These bats tonight, there's a lot to look at. We got the nice warm weather. Before we get to the bats, though, did you guys see this story? This is nuts. I think the balls are still juice. They're putting humidors, or they have humidors in Boston with the Mets and the Mariners, adding that to Arizona and Colorado. Mangone, is that, now that we have that information, do you do anything with that?
I'm still trying to do some research on it and figure it out. So I don't have the answer yet for it.
Okay, what about
I just kind of found out today. So
yeah, that to me is just really interesting. Title, I don't even know if you knew about it, just kind of popped up here, but does that do anything to your projections?
Yeah, no. I don't have enough, like with everything going on right now, it's so hard to look into. We don't have enough data. I'm taking the approach of Vegas is going to get the data before us, and it'll be implemented into run totals.
Mhm.
So I've always kind of just relied on Vegas for a lot of stuff to go into all my things. So I'm thinking I'm just going to rely on them. I have no edge myself.
All right. So we get into the offenses here. Let's start at the 7:05 Eastern game. Atlanta visiting the Yankees. You've got Atlanta facing Tanaka tonight, and their implied run total is 4.11. So it's a little bit on the lower side. Mangone, the Atlanta offense, going up against the Yankees. Listen, when it comes to betting, I'm heavily on the Yankees side here. But as far as scoring runs, I'm not feeling good about the Braves tonight.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I'm not really feeling the Braves either. There's just too many other offenses I prefer. I think there's a lot of different good offenses, but I don't think there's just like this clear-cut one that everyone's gonna. There might be one that people gravitate towards, but it's not like it's Coors, right? It's like, okay, no doubt we go to this 13.5 total. So I think there is some optionality on this slate. The Yankees, let's talk about them though. There are definitely some pretty good bats here in this spot. If you look at their order too. Going up against, you got DJ LeMahieu, Luke Voit in the 2-hole, Hicks, Gio Urshela, Torres, Ford, Sanchez, Frazier, and Gardner. I mean, this is not like your typical Yankee lineup, right? You don't see Aaron Judge in there. Maybe some people shy away from this team. I still think they're in a pretty good spot. So, yeah, if you want to stack up the Yankees, they're definitely worth looking at, right? They're definitely a good stack on this slate. And you can, kind of get unique with it a bit. And people might not want to play a Gio or Urshela in the, 4-hole. They might rather spend their money elsewhere, but I still think that's a good call.
Yeah, and there's Noah going out there. So how about the Yankees here, Title? Your thoughts on the Braves? Will you have much exposure to any of them tonight? And then the Yankees offense going up against, a young guy, unproven at this point, and I think that they're probably going to feast.
Yeah, so I don't have any interest in the Braves. There's enough games on this slate where I'll be crossing off a lot of teams, and that'll be one of them. And then for the Yankees, yeah, it's hard not to like them today. And I agree with Mangone where I don't think you have to worry about ownership. I think the one spot Philly's going to be the obvious chalk. I still don't think they're going to come in like above 50% or something. So wouldn't be too scared about ownership. So I like the Yankees a lot. Top of the order, of course, is going to get a little more ownership. So in tournaments, I actually like stacking the bottom of the order. Torres at 5, Ford at 6, Gary Sanchez at 7, Clint Frazier 8, Gardner 9. Those are all quality hitters, and no one ever stacks the bottom of the lineup. We talk about it all the time on the show. It's something Big T likes to do in tournaments. So that's my favorite large field. If you're throwing a couple lineups in the $20 to $150 to first, stack the bottom of the Yankees order in a great spot, and they're going to be under-owned. So that's my favorite low-owned stack of the night.
All right, so let's move on to Baltimore here and the Orioles. So here's my question for both of you before we get into the stats. Like, what do we have? We got about a quarter of this season in the books for a lot of teams, right? It's only 60 games. They're coming up on 20 now, so we got about a quarter of the season done. How much, Mangone, are you looking at what we've seen early on this year? Are you even looking at that, or is it just the bigger sample going back to last year and mixing that in with this year?
Yeah, I'd say I'm still mixing last year's stuff too. I'm not just looking at this year's, but listen, if there's a guy that doesn't look right or a guy that's been hotter right now, I obviously want to take note of that and take advantage of that. So I think it's a mix of both, and it depends on the situation. I would say that's how I'm kind of been approaching it.
Title?
Yeah, I'm mainly mixing them from last year. It's not a large enough sample size yet, but if a guy really doesn't look right, and then I'm looking at his hard hit numbers, K percentage, stuff like that, and I like watching the games too. So like Benintendi, after the first 2 games, he kept being chalk, and I was watching him. Never a Benintendi guy either, but he just did not look right. Just went on the IL I saw today. So just stuff like that. But mainly last year's numbers as well. We don't have a big enough sample size yet, unless something's really broken.
All right. Well, that's good. I'm glad, we got that out of the way. We can look at some things, because if you look back the last 2 seasons or go back to last year and into this year, the Orioles have just been horrible offensively. But then you look at a small sample this year against right-handers. We're talking about Santander, Iglesias, Ruiz, all 219 ISOs or higher. Nunez, Dwight Smith Jr., Cisco, all these guys are crushing the baseball early on. So, Mangone, listen to you. You're not going to take that quite as seriously. The Baltimore and Philadelphia bats, I think all three of us probably look at Philadelphia and say they can blow up. They can blow up in that spot tonight. But your thoughts on this game, and just, again, you're not going to be really looking at that small sample this year.
Yeah, well, I'll say this, Holden. I do think that it depends on the situation, right? Like the Orioles, they're a team, a lot of young players, right? And they're a year older than like that last year sample. So you kind of have to play around with it. They've been a lot better this year, and for good reason. I think comparing what's happened from last year and what's happened with this year, and looking at the scenario and looking at the type of team they are, they have gotten a little bit better. They've gotten older too. I mean, Chris Davis hits in the 8-hole for this team now. He was hitting in like the 4-hole last year for them. So the team has definitely changed a bit. I said it yesterday. I think 3-man Orioles stacks are perfectly fine. I don't mind doing that, but again, better spots for me today. If you want to take that shot today, I do not hate it. I think it's perfectly fine. I like the Philly side though, and I think Titletown brought it up before. Like, this is going to be the spot where probably if you had to pick one stack that's going to be the chalkiest, it's probably then. Mainly because Wade LeBlanc is the worst pitcher on this slate. On top of that, you got guys like Rhys Hoskins who are just underpriced. You got money to spend on a guy like a Bryce Harper. JT Realmuto helps with a really tough catcher position. On FanDuel specifically, Andrew McCutchen, I mean, he's really cheap. He has been really bad this year. That's worth noting. Maybe that's not the best way to spend your salary. I get it's a nice little salary saver, but it's something to think about. I still might be playing McCutchen. He might become a core play of mine. I still haven't decided yet. But ultimately, if you look at this Phillies team, they're probably one of the best stacks on this slate.
Title, I'm looking at your single entry here. I mean, you got Hoskins, Segura, McCutchen. Just from there, I mean, you could probably go 4, 5, 6 deep on this lineup today, can't you?
Oh yeah, all in Phillies today. If you're making 150, obviously don't ever go 100. Don't all in anyone in baseball, because it's such a variant sport. Anyone can go over 4. But yeah, I mean, the Phillies are in the best spot on the slate. My favorite stack. They're too cheap on both sites. I mean, everything lines up for them. Rhys and McCutchen are locks on both sites because they are very underpriced. McCutchen had a nice 2 RBI single yesterday, took the other way. Good battle at bat, or he battled well at bat. So he also always has stolen base upside as well a little bit. So he's a player I like for too cheap. And then Real Muto, Gene Segura, Bryce Harper, as you can see in the background. Love myself some Bryce Harper today. I'm fine lefty. Hope that does scare people away. I don't see LeBlanc being in the game long. Bryce Harper can hit lefty. He's a talented hitter. Hoping that keeps him under-owned, but I still think he's going to get ownership.
I mean,
for Balt,
yes, real quick. Don't you think that this is going to be the highest owned team though? If they're not the highest owned team, they'll be right there.
Yeah, I think this will be the highest owned team just by themselves for sure. But I don't think it's going to be like a 70%. I mean, I think you see these guys in the 40s. And in tournaments, I mean, I like that as leverage as well, though. This is single entry that I wrote my core about. But if you're in a large field tournament making a couple lineups, you absolutely have to fade that as leverage, because it is baseball. I mean, it's hard to get hits and get home runs and stuff like that. It's a very variant sport. So it's a single entry. I'm all over Phillies. Large field tournaments, I won't have as much because of ownership. And then for Baltimore,
how in are you on the Phillies?
I'm in on the Phillies. I talked about them already.
Yeah, I know, but how in on the Phillies are you? Like, you're a cash guy, I get it, but if you are playing tournaments, you got to have exposure to them, right?
Yeah, well, it depends what kind of cash player you are, right? If you're like the cash player that fades cores, I wouldn't argue you to fade the Phillies if you think there's better spots on the slate. It really depends on how you kind of, play everything out. So there's definitely merit to fading because it's baseball, right? So in tournaments, I totally get it. If you can find a stack that's lower owned, let's say the Philly stack is going to be 25% owned and the Yankee stack is 5% owned. In GVPs, I mean, you got to talk to me then about the, about that Yankee stack. I'm definitely interested if that's the case. So it all just depends how ownership shakes out. But the Philly stack, they're definitely my favorite in cash games.
All right, we'll get to, we already got to the Yankee stat. Let's get to the other team in New York, the Mets, hosting the Washington Nationals. We got some rain going on there right now. Hopefully the weather is going to hold off tonight, but the Nationals offense, to me, Trey Turner is just going bananas. So he's a guy I think you can look at in any format. He's probably going to be highly owned. Juan Soto can win a slate for you at any point in time. Gazelman's going to open this. Then you got the Mets bullpen, which is just league average at that point. So That's the Washington side. For the Mets, Anibal Sanchez, I think everything's starting to come back down to earth from his great season last year. So that's something to keep an eye on. And then, they got some bat. The Mets still have some bats to be very low owned tonight. Nimmo, Davis, McNeil, Conforto. The only guy that's not hitting is Pete Alonso. Title, Mets, and the Nationals. Guys from there.
Yeah, so this is a sneaky game that I like a little bit of both sides. You mentioned Washington. We'll start with them. Trey Turner, Juan Soto, the two you mentioned. Those are the two that I'm going to stick to in mini stack. Trey Turner, yeah, he's been crushing the baseball, always has stolen base upside, just a DFS guy that we always love to roster. And then Juan Soto, same thing, massive power, can always break a slate. You nailed it right there, Holden. So those are my two guys I'm mainly sticking to. If you want to go the Eaton, Howie Kendrick, stack them all up, you can, but it's not my favorite on this slate. Then the Mets side, I do like the Mets against Sanchez. Don't think Anibal Sanchez is any good. So J.D. Davis, McNeil, Conforto, those are my favorites. Peter Alonso, Smith 6 and stuff. But I like 2 through 4 mainly, leaving off Alonso. Peter Alonso he doesn't look right. He's been striking out a lot, as he always will. He's pretty much home run or bust. So I'm going to go Davis, McNeil, Conforto as my 3 favorite on the Mets.
Yeah, I want to throw one more name out, man. What do you think of Thames tonight? It's cheap bet. He's a little bit deeper in that lineup. If you're doing anything with the Nats, I don't know if you can play him in a one-off in a tournament. I don't know if he's not cash viable in my eyes, but give me some other names. And is Thames a guy that you could consider playing?
Yeah, well, Holden, I was on the Trey Turner train 2 days ago, and I've been riding it every day. So I'm going to ride it again, of course. He's been great, and I want to ride out that hot streak with him. Eric Thames. So the problem, I think, with Thames is the position, right? I think the position feels like it's too deep today. Obviously, we talked about Hoskins. That's one guy that I like at first base. We haven't got to Max Muncy, who's, definitely going to be an option that people look at. I know he's got some flexibility at positions, but there's that. Also, if you're looking on FanDuel, right, you talk about Eric Thames, he's catcher, first baseman eligible. JT Realmuto from, that Phillies game. He's a guy that you could play there. That's a great play. You got Freddie Freeman with a short left porch there against the Yankees. You got Pete Alonso against Anibal Sanchez, who's in this same game. Luke Voit, who's in the 2-hole. There's a lot of first basemen today that we can talk about. So I just think he kind of gets lost in the shuffle a little bit. If you're looking for a low-owned guy in your national stack, I wouldn't hate it. But the problem is if I do a Nationals and Philly stack, I'm not leaving off Rhys Hoskins. Not just that. So I think it depends on how I'm stacking things up, I guess I should say.
Right on, buddy. Do have a question for you. If you haven't already, would you please click thumbs up and like on the video? Once we get to a certain number, are we close to saying that number? Once we get to a certain number, we're going to give something away. Probably like beard shavings from Mangone's face, or would you give your glasses away there, Title? I mean,
can't give these babies out. I don't know. There's a little RPS, swag, a little hat that looks pretty good and stuff. So we'll be giving out some good swag if you smash that like button, man. What number are you thinking?
Yeah, so we're at 56 right now. We got 161 people watching. We'll just take the big number 100, right? We'll go with 100. So hit to 100 and we'll be fine. You guys got 40 minutes to get that. So
we get to 5,000. Okay, if we get to 5,000, you can have my Roberto Clemente starting lineup from the All-Star game like 15 years ago. Okay.
Wow, right. We got to get this tweeted out, and we got to get everyone in here.
5,000.
5,000.
Right,
I do 5,000 because I just said accidentally 1,000, but we'll stay with 5,000.
I'm hopping on my burners. Holden. If I miss what you're saying throughout the show, it's because I'm on my burner account smashing the likes. So.
You got it. And do not forget to go to the Discord. People, I'm telling you, I didn't even know this the first couple of days, and then I started going into the Discord. We're getting plays. We're getting late swaps. Go get into the Discord and ask guys questions, or guys will just be posting things. I saw JSU in there for basketball. We'll have baseball guys all night long too. So make sure you get into the Discord. Back to the games, guys. So we talked about the Philly stack, another team that would probably be very popular tonight. I would think at least. Maybe they won't. Maybe we can get an edge with the Houston Astros. No Altuve. I mean, the guy's not hitting, but Springer's wrist, it's good enough for him to get back into the lineup. So Mangone, start with Houston for me here tonight with an implied total of 5-3.
Yeah, I mean, Houston's definitely in play against Cahill. I mean, why wouldn't we want to consider Houston? I mean, every day I think they're in play. They're like the Twins. They're like the Yankees. Tons of power bats. You have to consider them pretty much every day, right? Especially against these Giants pitchers. They're not very good. Pulling up some of the numbers now in Cahill. And yeah, I was pretty sure I was correct on it. Right side, left side of the plate. He gets beat up by both. It's going to be a problem. Doesn't matter who it is. So Astros, up and down the lineup, you have to like them. Obviously, you can stack them from the top, but don't be afraid to get a little unique, right? Throw in a Martin Maldonado out of nowhere in like a 5-man stack on DraftKings because catcher's just an ugly position and punt with it to be able to get in maybe some bigger bats. There's tons of different routes you can take. Astro stack, though, definitely one that you want to be targeting in your GPPs today.
Yeah, and listen, Title, your thoughts on the Astros, and then I want you to go right into the Giants too, because nobody's going to be owning the Giants against Greinke tonight. If they go off, someone's winning some money. It doesn't seem very likely. But again, the Giants have had some decent offensive performances. They came back. That Houston bullpen has been just abominable. And now you've got our guy, Ozuna, their closer. He's out for multiple weeks. That bullpen's a disaster. So, Title, Giants offense, and how high are you on the Astros tonight?
Yeah, so I can't be pulling the trigger on the Giants offense because of how in love I am with Greinke on this slate. I do this on some slates. The ultimate hedge. I mean, I can't talk. No one's going to be talking you on San Fran. So, I mean, if you're going to do it, yeah, of course, it's ultimate leverage. You're going to be 1% against a popular pitcher. They've been pretty good. They've got hits. I like Yaz and Dickerson up top for sure. Brandon Belt. I mean, I don't think Greinke's like a great pitcher. I mean, he's good, but he's definitely hittable. It's not like we're talking about against Scherzer. I mean, we see aces all the time get hit up, so it's definitely viable. It's not something I'm going to do on this slate because I am more of a cash guy, because I like Greinke so much, but I don't mind it for the ultimate leverage. And then Houston, I'm pretty much right there with Mangone. I'm going to have more Philly and stuff because I like them more. The Astros are more expensive, but they're in a great spot. It's hard not to like at least a little bit of them. Springer, Bregman, Gurriel, Correa, those are the main guys. I'm not worried about ownership, so I would pretty much stick to those guys. I agree with Maldonado. Anytime on DK, you add a catcher to your stack, unless there's one that really sticks out for whatever reason. But that's pretty much for me what I got for that game.
The good news, I want to go back to Philadelphia real quick. The good news is that you had heavy rain today, and, there might be some weather and people get a little taken aback by that. So maybe you can get a little edge with Philadelphia tonight, Mangone. I mean, just looking at the weather, maybe people don't fade them, but
yeah, you have to watch that weather, right? Like that might be a stack, and some plays I move off of in my core plays. So be sure to check that. I'll update after the show, but I definitely need to get the weather on that. That's something I'll be looking at up to.
And we'll be in Discord talking about that as well. So one of the benefits of being in Discord, if we change our core plays, we'll let you guys all know.
Give us 2 thumbs up, everybody, on the YouTube page. And when we get to 100, we're going to give some cool swag away. Minnesota at Milwaukee. I told you every night I put a Minnesota lineup in, and I like it again. I mean, here you go. You've got Garver, Polanco. You can go up to the top. Buxton got going a little bit last night. So I think Buxton, even if you went down to the bottom of the order, I like Minnesota every single night. You're going to learn that. It's something I just live by. On the Milwaukee side, I want to get your thoughts on those guys too, going up against who's out there? Maeda, right? Isn't this the big one tonight for Maeda? So he's going out there. Lauer against the Minnesota hitters. I can't imagine too many people are going to be going with Milwaukee tonight. Mangone. So it's Minnesota. Any interest in Minnesota? I don't see cash right now. Maybe Cruz, but because he's a lefty, but these guys are going up against left-hander, man. They just smash. I don't hear anybody talking about the Twins today.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this with the Twins on FanDuel. Like, I mean, do you see these price tags? You can get Mitch Garver at 2.3K. You can get Jorge Polanco at 2.7. Nelson Cruz is 3A. There's some really good price tags on these guys. Let's say you're building out a stack and you're looking for a random one-off. Like Mitch Garver is a great option to go to. I know catcher first base is a tough position to end up rostering, but again, another case for why it's pretty loaded today. So yeah, there's some good prices on these guys. I don't hate the Twins. They're not my favorite stack on the slate, but I do think they're in playing tournaments. I think they're up there. I don't know if they're going to make my top 3 when we get to that segment, but you'll have to find out once we get there. I still think they're a pretty good tournament option though.
Yep, no doubt about it. Milwaukee hosting Minnesota. Title, anything from here?
No, I don't like Milwaukee today against Maeda, but for Minnesota, I do like Minnesota. And Mangone pretty much hit it right on the head. Garver's one of my favorite plays. Very cheap. If he fits in, great hitter. Nelson Cruz, 3.8K, feels too cheap as well. As you said, Holden, we can stack the Twins any day. Their offense is that good. They're going to blow up a lot. You stack them every day, they're going to bink for you and make you all the money eventually. So I like that call. DraftKings, their prices are a little more affordable or a little more expensive. Garver's up to 4.9, Cruz 5.4, but that's going to even keep their ownership down lower, and they can blow up against a lefty anytime. So I do like Minnesota.
All right, guys, you guys will give your favorite stacks. I mean, my favorite stack tonight is the Tampa Bay Rays. I'm really looking forward to this matchup going up against the Boston Red Sox, and they get to face just a complete doo-doo pitcher in Zach Godley, who has no business really being in the American League. I mean, he should just get trounced tonight. So I'm very high on the Rays. Team total at 5. On the other side, do you guys have any interest in the Boston bats going up against Blake Snell? You know, and you mentioned this when we talked about pitching. He's, 59 pitches his last start, hasn't gotten into the 4th inning yet. So what they're going to do is probably see a bullpen, which is pretty good. Mangone, Boston, Rays, anyone from here?
Yeah, I mean, I really like the Rays. I think the Rays are one of the better stacks in the slate. They're one I'm definitely considering, going to, and maybe making it that like Phillies pivot, or maybe stacking them up together. Their prices are pretty cheap too. Again, FanDuel, pretty good price tags over there. DraftKings, let me pull up those prices now real quick and see. I'm blanking on them, but I'll talk about the FanDuel ones now while we're there. Meadows, I think, is just such a strong play there. Yandy Diaz, again, he's 2.5K. G-Man Choi, he's 2.6. Even Joey Wendell, the 5-hole at shortstop, 2.3K. I mean, such great price tags on all these guys. So you can't ignore it. Even the bottom of the lineup, you got some pretty good prices. So yeah, ultimately, I like the Rays stack. I think they're my favorite in this game, and they're one that I'm definitely pretty high on. Pulling up the DK prices
well,
now.
I'm telling you, it's cheap. It's Meadows at 4.8. Low at 4.4, and everybody else is in the low 3s or high 2s. I mean, if you really wanted to get super fancy, you could probably work in one of the guys at the bottom of the lineup, and whether it be a Kiermaier or a Wendell. But I mean, you got to go with the top 3 or 4 in this lineup. But it's pretty affordable after Meadows and Lowy.
Yeah, and there's good flexibility with it, right? Like you get all these guys at different positions. I mean, Lowe is second base outfield eligible. You get Wendell, who's second base shortstop eligible. You got Yoshi, he's third base and outfield eligible. So you can get some like more unique builds maybe by going those routes as well. So yeah, ultimately Rays, I'm pretty high on that as a stack today. I think they're really strong.
Mr. Titletown, how high are the Rays on your list? And would you consider going the other side with the Red Sox?
Yeah, so I like the Rays a lot in this situation or in this spot. The two favorites are Meadows, Low. Get the perfect mini stack, 1-2 in there, 2 lefties. I'll be having a lot of them in other places and everywhere. I like Wendell a little bit because of his price. G-Man Choi batting 4th. I'm not in love with this whole offense as much as you are. It sounds like Holden, but the Low Meadows, I'll have those 2 in a lot of different places. And as far as Boston, you mentioned pretty good bullpen behind Snell, even on a pitch count, but it's not an offense that's been very hot. Not a spot I'm going to be targeting a lot. Just mentioned, I just saw in chat, we got Uncle T in there, one of our guys who sometimes does the core play and stuff. He likes the Twins a lot. So just saw that in chat. Wanted to mention I saw Uncle T hanging out in chat with us.
So here's my question, guys. There's Big T. Is Big T Uncle T in like his some type of different bizarro world demeanor? Who's Uncle T?
He is Big T's uncle. That is Big T's uncle.
Like legitimately his uncle.
Yes, it's his uncle. Uncle T.
You guys screwing with me.
No, it's Uncle
He's in
T.
chat.
Yeah.
Terry.
All right, his name is Uncle T. Is he part of this? Is like he a big part of this?
Uncle T's been putting in good work, man. He's
He knows his baseball. He's been writing the playbook sometimes with JT, doing some core plays.
I thought it was Big T, and like he just wanted to take another stab at a lineup. So he's like, "Screw it, I'll just call myself Uncle T." But what you're telling me, that's false.
I can see that though. That's not too out of there. So I can see that too. But
no question, guys. No question. 2 more games to go with. What do we got? 8-game slate tonight. Out on the West Coast, Seattle at Texas. So Jordan Lyles, who really does nothing for me either. The XFIP is he's been flirting with 6 since last year. So that's actually it's 485. So that's his XFIP 485. Taijuan Walker has never been able to just get it together. He hasn't been healthy. He's one of the top prospects in the game. You have a Texas offense, which has not been good, but you also got guys like Shin-Soo Choo and Joey Gallo and Rougned Odor, some one-offs. Title, Seattle at Texas. Any interest in either offense or some one-offs?
Yeah, so I mentioned in the beginning, these are the spots that I have more interest to the pitchers, especially Lyles. Don't have interest in Seattle bats, but for Texas bats, the couple I do like, Shin-Soo Choo, Calhoun, and Gallo. I like picking out the lefties, the power lefties at that. Those guys can always put up numbers in bunches. Calhoun in the 3 holes looking really good. So Walker has struggled against lefties as well. So, but if Walker can work through those 3 lefties, he can have a pretty good day. That's why I like playing both sides on different lineups. Sometimes in baseball, you do make a hedge like that where a pitcher can roll on a bad pitching slate if they can get by a couple guys. And if not, the couple guys are going to get you. And those are the 3 that I will see.
What about you, Mangone?
Yeah, I mean, I'm currently on the pitching right now more than the hitting. I'm on Jordan Lyles. I think he's a pretty good play over on DraftKings, mainly because of the matchup, right? The strikeouts that he can have against a team like Seattle. So I'm looking at him. Again, he can blow up, right? Like, let's look at some of the numbers on him. I mean, the ISO, he gives up against lefties, a 250 ISO. Against righties, it's a lot lower, right? 170. But the strikeout rate is at 23% or 24%. I mean, sure, he has his walk issues, right? At 10%. But one thing I'll say about this Seattle team is they don't walk a ton, right? They don't have all these guys that have like 15% walk rates. So this is a matchup that could like be in his favor. I'm not saying Jordan Lyles is going to out here and, be the Cy Young and throw like 10 Ks. That's not the case. But he has a decent K prop on this slate. I believe I saw 5.5 on it. Ultimately, I think Jordan Lyles is in play here against the Mariners. And with that stadium, we talked about if the roof is closed, it's a good spot. If the roof is open, I'm definitely going to probably try and find a way to move off. But with the roof being closed, hopefully, Jordan Lyles will definitely be a guy I go to. I think he's a strong option.
All right, last game, Padres-Dodgers. Man, the Padres are good. They're exciting. They've got some bats. Tatis is hitting. Now Machado's starting to come on. So, up and down that lineup, very good. They got Zach Davies on the mound tonight. No one's buying into Davies. He's got a 13-1 strikeout to walk ratio through his first 3 games, so he's throwing strikes again. And on the other side, it's going to be kind of a just bullpen day with Tony Gonsolin taking the mound for the Dodgers this afternoon. I have a hard time believing anyone is going to be fading the Dodgers just because Zach Davies is off to a hot start, Mangone, especially when you can roll out Betts and Muncy and Bellinger. Maybe the Dodgers offense hasn't been as sexy this past week as you thought they'd be. But, boy, if you don't believe in Zach Davies, then the Dodgers got to be your play tonight.
Yeah, and speaking of ratios, man, we got 170 people watching this show, and only 82 people have hit the like button, guys. We need 18 more.
Tough is to hit the like button. Hit the like button, and you could get free stuff. Boom. It's very simple.
Yeah, I mean, you have to make an account, so I think that's one of the reasons why some people don't. But what are you doing? It's 2020. Make a YouTube account. I mean, come on. So, all you got to do is hit that like 18, and then we'll give away some free swag. But
that as angry as you get, I feel like that's as angry as you're going to get. Like somebody could kick your dog, and you'd be like, come on, guys. Bring it
I got a long leash, Holden. So if like you kick my dog, like, we'll have a talk, but like that leash, like once you get to the point, Holden, I'm done though. Like I'm out. See ya. So my leash is long, but yeah, you're good.
All right,
don't kick my dog 10 times. Let's talk about the Dodgers. Yeah, I like the Dodgers here in this spot. I will say, like, it looks like the run total has gone down a bit. That's a bit concerning. Maybe I don't end up stacking them up all the way. I think this could be, we kind of talked about this with Tony the other day. I wouldn't mind maybe this being like a 3-2-2 stack night, right? I don't see where it's like this just clear-cut offense that you go to. I could see home runs all over the place. And if you get the right mix, it could be a contrarian way to go. Everyone's doing the 4-4 stack these days, so why not go with the 3-3-2? But yeah, let's talk about it. Jock Peterson, if he's in the one hole, obviously he's always in play, but you always have to worry about that pinch hit risk. So check out the lineup. Mookie Betts, Bellinger. If I had to pick one guy, it's going to be Bellinger. And then Justin Turner has some really cheap prices around the industry. I think he's a pretty strong option. And then Max Muncy as well. So I'd say my 3 favorites are Bellinger, Muncy, and Turner. That's how I would approach the Dodgers.
The Padres side's going to be interesting because you got a spot start here. It's a bullpen game. Then the Dodgers bullpen, they got a 3.27 Sierra. They're really, their xFIP is 3.43. That might even be best. That's second best in baseball behind the Brewers. So this will be an interesting spot title for the Padres is the one I'm interested in because these guys are all just crushing. You can't get Tatis out. You can't get half of these guys out at this point in time. My home run call didn't work out with Hunter Renfroe last night, but he did have a 2-run double, so that worked. So any exposure to the Padres tonight? Is this just a tournament thing? And then give me your thoughts on the Dodgers.
Yeah, so definitely not the Padres in cash. And I don't usually like picking on bullpen games unless it's a really, really bad bullpen. As you mentioned, the Dodgers are a good bullpen. So I'm not going to be having too much Padres. Don't think I'll probably have any. If I do, I like you can one-off Tatis. It'll be very different. Most people won't be spending all that money to one-off a player in a low implied total game. So, but Tatis has been absolutely just crushing the ball. He's looking great. He's going to be a stud for a long time. So he's fun to watch. So anytime you can one-off him, sure, going to make you unique, but not something I'm really doing today with the Padres. As far as the Dodgers, top of the order, you always like the Dodgers, just like you always like Minnesota. The lineup's too good not to. They can roll over, get you 6 at-bats. So top to bottom, I like them. My favorites are Jock, Betts, Bellinger, Turner, Muncy, of course, top 5. But don't be afraid to stack the bottom of the order to be different because this is a good bottom of the order that can get going.
All right, speaking of stacks, so we went through the games. Let's get to your stacks. Top 3 stacks today, Mangone. What do we got, about 4 or 5 teams that we can really pick from, right?
Yeah, there's a lot you can pick from, right? Like, I'll just go through it real quick, right? We got the Phillies is one that's on my radar, the Yankees, the Astros, talking about the Nationals, the Twins are always in play. I like the Rays, Dodgers. So there's a lot to look at. There's a lot to like. My 2 favorites right now, I'd say, are probably the Phillies, and the Twins. Those would be 1 and 2 for me. And then that third one, like, I'm trying to think through which one I want to go to. And I kind of think it might be going with that. I just see a change on the Mets. Is Robert Gsellman pitching instead of someone else with the Mets game? Because I was going to say the National stack.
He's the opener.
Oh, okay.
I think Lockett's going to be in there too, right?
Yeah, Lockett's going to be in there for the most part. Yeah, sorry. And I've been doing NBA and stuff too, so I probably missed that he was the opener. But I've been doing all the info on Lockett, right? And Lockett, he's not good. I want to attack him. Nationals offense has been pretty good too. I'm going to fire away with this Nationals team again. I like their prices as well. So give me the Nationals one more time. We'll go back to the well.
Title, top 3.
Yep. So we're going to go with Philadelphia up top. The Astros is my second favorite. And then I like the Rays and then the Dodgers if you want a 4th team. Yeah. Pretty chalky today, but those are the 4 clear favorites for me.
Yeah, that's where I am. I'm always pricing the Twins. Too. Always the Twins. Throw some Rays in there. And I think the Astros or the Dodgers would probably be the last one. Everybody loves Philadelphia, so I don't know how much exposure you can have in tournaments because everybody will be on them.
The one thing I'll mention too, and I want to mention, like, this is FanDuel specific. As I built my lineups, at least for me, I don't know if anyone else is having not this issue, but when I build my teams, like the Phillies, they're cheap enough prices. The Rays are cheap enough prices. Like a lot of the stacks I go to, they have really cheap prices. We talk about the Twins having some nice ones. The Nationals always have good prices. So it's easy to get cranky in there. So, like, don't be afraid to leave some money on the table on this slate. That's perfectly okay. If you have like 2 4-man stacks and you're leaving some money, like, that's okay, guys. It's a great way to be unique. Perfectly okay to do in tournaments. So don't be afraid to do that.
Okay. How about let's go to our home run calls, boys.
We need 5 more likes before anything. All right, just saw that. We'll do home run calls, but 5 more likes from you guys to get some swag while we're doing the home run calls.
We're 95?
That's what, 95, 96.
You can either get like a hat or a shirt or a pretty little brooch, whole bunch of different stuff you can get here. It's going to be wonderful.
And 5,000 more likes, you get Holden's bobblehead that he has at his desk.
No, it's not even a bobblehead. It's a starting lineup from the 2005 All-Star game, which my daughter ripped open and completely screwed the value. But I still like Robbie Clemente.
Well,
Holden, there's value in the memories that your daughter brought you, as always. So
the memory is, God damn it, why'd you do this? That's my memory. Why would you do that to me? Oh, boy. Home run calls. Title. Run it, baby. What do we got?
All right, so we're going to go with up top, favorite guy, Bryce Harper, as you can see back there. Going to get one out tonight. gonna stay in that same game and go Reese Hoskins, getting a little chalky, but those two are gonna get it done. And then as my third, I like Mitch Garver. Comes in at a value on FanDuel, but I think Mitch Garver hits one out. I'm gonna even say to lead off the game.
I mean, Nelson Cruz. None of us could take Nelson Cruz because he's facing a lefty.
Yeah, right, Cruz against a bad lefty.
What's up, Mangone?
Yeah. Well, I'm not surprised. I'm surprised Titletown didn't take it with the amount of chalk he ate there. I mean, of course, you could easily just eat Nelson Cruz is like the easiest option on the board.
Hey, give him they all score the same, right? You don't want to get too cute. Take a 0. Got to give him some 18.7s and 14s.
Yeah. Title just throws softballs. Nolan Arenado, Mike Trout from the early slate. Like, I mean, make it difficult. Come on, get out on a limb for once. Okay.
Give me Joey Gallo, G-Man Choi. All right. And I'm taking Nelson Cruz just because I usually get one.
There you go.
I just went on that whole rant. That's okay.
Tatis going to hit another home run. Let's just go chalk.
All right. So I'm going to go with my one. The one guy I really like in this spot, I think it's a strong spot, is Austin Meadows. So that'll be one I definitely go with. Like him a ton in that spot. We're going to go with Gio Urshela here against, I think Gio's in a pretty decent spot here. He can take advantage of it. So we'll go with him as an option on the Yankees. And then we're going to go with, we'll go with Didi Gregorius on the Phillies, right? People are not going to play the lefty spot, but man, Didi can hit anyone. He's always done that. I'm not too worried about Didi. It's a good spot for him. And on top of that, Wade LeBlanc, are we expecting him to be in there long? You can get a low-owned Didi Gregorius out of nowhere in your Philly stack for a way to be different. So let's go with Didi.
Aaron Judge not in the lineup tonight, by the way. He's got lower body tightness. So that's interesting with the Yankees. No Stanton and no Judge. Neither one of them. So your boy Urshela is going to have to carry the load.
That means the stack just gets cheaper. I mean, they're already in a good spot. It's now a cheaper stack because the prices aren't DK. DK and FanDuel didn't know that, so they're not accounted for. So just makes the Yankee stack that much cheaper. It doesn't make them any worse. So I like that. I like that even more for
good
DFS.
Again, if you have any questions, hit the Run Pure Sports Discord because all these guys are just answering your questions. JSU, Big T, you'll see Mangone in there, Title's in there. Everybody's in there. How many did we get to 100 likes or are we done, Ski?
We got to the 106 we see. Nice job. Give him a round of applause. Now we're gonna have to pick someone. But
you want to pick someone out, guys? The lizard guy won this morning, so nobody with reptilian names.
Mangone, you want to do it?
Yeah, I'll do it. Real quick, we got JT, our boy. He's been on the shows. He says Renato Nunez bombed tonight, so that's his home run call. Nice. Brooklyn Juice is also saying Didi won't be low owned. I mean, I think he'll be low owned. I see single digits right now, so I don't know. We'll have to see. But let's pick the swag, right? I'm gonna look at you guys. I have my monitor over here on the right, so I'm scrolling, looking around, and I landed on Jason Cornell. That's Jason Cornell. So I don't know if you've won swag. I'll at you in the chat too. Send a message over to the Run Pure Sports Twitter account, and we'll take care of you. So you have won swag. I'm typing it out now, and that's about it, Holden. I think that's it for the show.
You win. All right. How do people follow you on social? There, Mangone.
Yeah, give me a follow. I'm over at Travis Mangone. You can find me there, always talking about DFS stuff and tons of fun. Happy to answer questions in the Discord as well. I'm over there as a Mangone in the Discord. So shout at me over there.
What about you?
Yeah, at Titletown2121 on Twitter. Always sweating out games. Then you can find me in Discord, Titletown2121 as well, with a nice little Schofield and Sucre. Any of my Prison Break lovers out there, that's my picture. Doing always in chat for MLB, NBA, do MMA over here as well. Big card on Saturday, big fights for the trilogy. Great time to be a sports fan, and RPS is crushing it all. So can't wait to talk to you guys in Discord and stuff, and that's where you can find me.
All right, I'm Holden. I'm at Holden Radio on Twitter for Mangone and Title. Of course, the Cappy back in the studio there, making everything look good. I'm Holden Kushner. Thanks for subscribing to Run Pure Sports. Get to the Discord, everybody, and we'll catch you tomorrow.